And when I say people respond, how people respond to things matter, like the internet will take to it and just go off with it. Meek responds being the uncomfortability. He goes, yo, nah, I spend $100,000 to find out why my name is in this like this. And it's in it only because he's uncomfortable. You don't hear him talking about French. French was right there. Right? Why get so quiet? You guys make me feel like I'm so scared.
Well, no, I mean...
Now, do understand that I don't believe everybody.
Right.
Like the accusations are way too fast and it's wild. I'm like
Meek Mill tweeted, I want to hire an investigative team to find out every specific detail involving Meek Mill named to Diddy case. I also want to look at who's powering the media involving Meek, anything to do with Buddy. And ends in quote, something not right.
I'm at a point in my life like we all grew up in the streets and we try to be better, but they labeled us felons, sent us back to jail. I had to fight against that the whole time to gain my respect and be who I am today, and I'm proud of that.
People who pick fights for people who don't want to fight, those are punks. Meek Mill, when I ran into him finally, he said, yo, let me talk to you. I need to talk to you like a man on the side, put me to the side. And I wanted to punch him, and I didn't. I just looked at him and I was like, yo, I don't understand why you felt like that. Because he's a battle artist. That's where you come from. So when he says something to Drake and then doesn't respond, and Drake says something back, I'm going, what happened?
We went to the side like, man, yo, man, you know, we both come from the streets. You know what this could lead to. You got these type of dudes with you. I got these type of dudes with me, man. I always looked up to you, fam. I don't even know how we got on this foot.
Say one nice thing about Ja Rule.
Oh, he's alive.
The rap game is all fucked up now. What we gonna do now? How we gonna eat, man? 50 back around. That's Ja little punk ass thinking out loud. Southside till I die, that's just how I get down. I'm back in the game shop.
Suck ass up, you fucking suck ass.
It's the fellow Ja Rule do have a soft ass thing.
And this way he was sick before we got him out of here.
What up? Who's winning, Warriors or Celtics? Hey.
What if the real reason the bank said no had nothing to do with money? Because one house in Voorhees, New Jersey just exposed something a decade of rap beefs, Instagram flexing, and industry politics never could. A $5.2 million property, 2 high-profile names. One walked away because of timing. The other reportedly couldn't get financing. And when that story hit the internet, it didn't just trend, it detonated. It started with a realtor casually recounting a conversation about luxury clients. The home had been shown to Jalen Hurts, who loved it. According to the insider, he was ready to move forward. The only issue? He wanted the house completed within a specific time frame. The money wasn't the problem, the calendar was. That detail matters. Because when Meek Mill toured that same property, the story reportedly unfolded very differently. The claim was simple but brutal. Financing didn't go through. The bank declined. And just like that, social media had its narrative. Athlete discipline versus rapper illusion, structured wealth versus flashy perception, real money versus rented moments. But that wasn't the whole story. See, banks don't care about Instagram captions. They don't care how many watches you post or how many courtside seats you sit in next to billionaires. They care about one thing: predictable income. Hurts signed a $255 million NFL contract. Structured, guaranteed, backed by a league machine that prints revenue. To a lender, that's security. That's consistency. That's low risk. Rappers, different story. Music income is volatile. Touring revenue fluctuates. Label splits cut deep. Advances aren't always what they seem. And if your career has been interrupted repeatedly, that volatility gets magnified. And that's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Because Meek's financial story isn't just about one mortgage application. It's about years of legal turbulence that quietly drained momentum and money. Back in 2007, at just 19 years old, Meek was arrested in Philadelphia on gun and drug charges. What followed wasn't a short setback. It became a 12-year legal saga that kept pulling him back into courtrooms. Probation violations, travel restrictions, house arrest, short stints behind bars. Each interruption meant canceled tours, missed opportunities, delayed releases. For an artist whose primary income stream is performing, that's devastating. And legal battles aren't cheap. Reports over the years have suggested that tens of millions were spent on attorneys, appeals, and related costs. Whether the exact figure was $10 million or $30 million, the point is the same. That kind of drain reshapes a balance sheet. Then came the IRS dispute. In 2025, reports surfaced that he was contesting a multi-million-dollar tax bill from years prior, claiming he hadn't earned what the IRS alleged. When tax authorities and artists disagree at that level, it signals complexity. And complexity makes lenders nervous. But courtrooms weren't the only pressure point. At one point, Meek publicly accused Jay-Z and Roc Nation of failing to honor what he described as a $55 million agreement related to Dream Chasers. According to Meek, only $5 million was paid up front, with the rest never materializing as expected. He said he signed when he was broke. He said he felt pressured. Now, whether those claims tell the full story or not, they highlight something deeper. The music industry is layered. Contracts are complex. Ownership percentages matter, and many artists don't fully control what fans assume they own. That tension eventually pushed Meek toward independence. By 2025, he announced he retained 100% of his music profits moving forward. That's powerful. But transitions like that can be financially turbulent before they become stable. And then there's real estate. In 2023, Meek listed an Atlanta estate at a headline-grabbing price. After sitting on the market, it eventually sold to Rick Ross for significantly less than the initial ask. That doesn't automatically mean desperation, but it does raise liquidity questions. Because here's something people forget. Net worth isn't cash. You can be worth $20 million and still struggle with liquidity if assets are tied up, if expenses are high, if obligations stack up. Banks look beyond headlines. They dig into debt-to-income ratios, tax history, and payment consistency. Instagram can't override underwriting, and that's when the vultures circle. If there's one person who thrives in moments like this, it's 50 Cent. Their rivalry dates back to 2016, when Meek took lyrical shots. 50 didn't respond with a diss track. He responded with memes, relentless, surgical, public. He mocked album sales, personal relationships, legal issues. And when the mortgage story surfaced, you could almost feel the grin through the screen. 50's strategy is simple. Don't outrap your opponent, out-embarrass them. And humiliation spreads faster than music ever could. But maybe the bigger issue isn't 50 Cent's trolling. Maybe it's the cultural machine that creates these moments. Hip-hop has always been built on projection. From day one, artists flexed success before they had it. It was manifestation. It was marketing. It was survival. When you grow up with nothing, visibility becomes validation. Meek has spoken openly about childhood poverty, about nights when his stomach hurt from hunger. That kind of upbringing shapes your psychology. When you finally escape, you don't just want comfort. You want proof. Proof that you made it. Proof that you'll never go back. Luxury becomes armor, but armor can get heavy. There's also the yes man factor. When artists rise quickly, they're often surrounded by people incentivized to keep the party going. Few people step in and say, slow down. Or, this deal isn't structured well. Or, let's build something that outlives the moment. Critics have pointed out that Dream Chasers, despite strong branding, hasn't launched multiple breakout stars. If your label is essentially just you, your revenue ecosystem depends almost entirely on your own performance. Compare that to diversified entrepreneurs who build scalable infrastructure. That difference matters when banks evaluate risk. And here's the irony. Meek isn't sitting idle. He's invested in lids. He's connected to fanatics through relationships with executives like Michael Rubin. He co-founded Reform Alliance to push criminal justice reform. He's vocal, active, engaged, but perception in hip-hop moves faster than nuance. When that mortgage story broke, social media didn't analyze tax structures or asset liquidity. It simplified everything to one word: broke. And that word spreads like wildfire. The truth is likely more layered. A denied loan doesn't mean empty pockets. It means the numbers, as presented, didn't align with the bank's risk appetite. That could be income inconsistency, credit complexity, tax disputes, high leverage, or simply timing. But in the public eye, context rarely survives. And that's what makes this moment dangerous. Because Meek's brand has always been rooted in resilience. The dream chaser who fought the system, the rapper who turned probation into a national conversation, the man who stood on stages after years of legal turbulence. Now the narrative risks shifting to something else. Not fighter, not reform advocate, punchline. But here's the question nobody's asking. What if this denial becomes the pivot point Independence means higher margins long term. Ownership compounds. If structured correctly, the next 5 years could look very different from the last 10. Many artists struggle during transition phases before finding financial stability on their own terms. The house might not have been the end goal. It might have been a test, and sometimes a no forces recalibration that a yes never would. Meanwhile, the comparison to Hertz remains instructive. Athletes operate inside tightly regulated leagues with transparent contracts. Rappers operate inside fluid ecosystems where income depends on streams, touring demand, brand partnerships, and cultural relevance. One model is structured from day one. The other is built while flying. So when the bank said no, Imba maybe it wasn't calling Meek broke. Maybe it was calling his income unpredictable. And unpredictability is the one thing lenders hate more than low balances. In the end, this story was never really about a $5.2 million house in New Jersey. It was about perception versus paperwork. It was about how quickly the internet crowns winners and declares losers. It was about the difference between looking wealthy and being bank-approved wealthy. And most of all, it was about how fragile reputation can be in an era where one leaked conversation becomes a viral narrative overnight. Because the same culture that celebrates flexing will dissect you the second the flex cracks. The question now isn't whether Meek Mill is broke, it's whether he adapts. Because in hip-hop, survival isn't about never falling. It's about whether you can rebuild louder than the noise. And sometimes the most expensive lesson isn't the house you didn't buy, it's the image you have to repair afterward. So what do you think the bank really saw? And is this the beginning of a decline or the start of a smarter chapter? If you want more deep dives that go beyond surface headlines and unpack what's actually happening behind the scenes, hit subscribe. Because in a world where everyone posts the highlight reel, the truth usually lives in the fine print. Until next time, stay sharp, stay curious, and don't let the timeline do your thinking for you.